Hello and welcome back to Better Than Adventure. It has been quite literally many months. But yeah. So between the last episode and today, some things have changed. First of all, for some reason, I updated the version, and this one is running a lot worse, and I can't figure out quite why. I'm gonna disable VSync and unlimit the frame rate and disable advanced OpenGL. There we go. Running beautifully. Anyways, so last time since I was here recording, I realized I wanted some bookshelves in the mansion that we're still working on. There are some other things I wanted to do as well. But, then I kind of realized I made 51 episodes. That I had nothing to... I needed to edit them and upload them. So yeah, that's why they've been slowly coming out now. One moment, please. This is happening at a very stupid time. Yeah, so... The idea is that, well, I'll show you. I collected a bit of sugarcane. Now let's hope the books don't require any leather. 'Cause yeah. I just went AFK. Oh? Okay. Wait. It's a concerningly large amount of paper. Kind of interesting. But yeah, maybe I miscalculated how many books we'll need, but I'm not complaining. So yeah, like, 6 pieces... No. Wait a minute, hold on. So, 3 stacks of sugarcane are 6 stacks of paper, which are 2 stacks of books. So, 1 sugarcane is 0.75 books? Like, no, 0.66 books. Okay. I love books. Yeah. Also, wow, aren't things different now from when I last recorded? Wow. Things have changed around here. Especially with, So when I originally recorded the video, my most viewed video was still from, like, the summer. When it was, like, PS1 versus N64, yada yada yada, right? Oh no, I think it was between that one and, like, the one I recorded in, like, very, very late 2023, the 2 joysticks one. And then I just made a fucking Quake video. Comparing the console version to Quake, because I found it interesting, and then I was like, wait a minute. Let's make a video going over, like, the potential that these systems would have had. And boom, fucking 70,000 views? Really? Kinda shocking, honestly. It's just one of those things which I would have never expected. Because when I went to bed, right, when I made that video, my goal is to always get 5 digits. Sometimes the video doesn't get 5 digits most of the time, actually, when I make one of those kinds of videos, because very rarely are they topics that people really care about, right? And then sometimes you just hit it. Like, sometimes you just make a video that people like, so people click on it. It's not an algorithm thing. People think like, oh, the algorithm hadn't chosen me. Buddy, there is no reason for why someone sane would have wanted to watch that video just because, you know, if an algorithm just shows you that video, it doesn't really matter, because you don't have to click on it. No, people click on the video because they're interested about the video. Something else crazy is that the follow-up video, which was like transparency on the Sega Saturn, which wasn't really a follow-up video, but it kind of is, ended up also getting over 10k views now, which is really nice. So it's kind of one of those things where I genuinely don't know what to do from there, because, like, I mean, I had ideas on what to do, but now I'm like, do I really want to do that? Because I don't know. I've seen somebody suggest, and my goal was to eventually cover 6th gen stuff, or even 7th gen. But it's just not as interesting to me for the simple reason that, you know, 6th gen is already kind of sapient, and 7th gen is interesting but very straightforward. 5th gen is like when it was really raw and uncooked, because they were like, you know, nobody really knew what they were doing, except, like, Sega and Sony, but they were also wrong because they didn't know what they were doing. They just thought they knew what they were doing because they had prior experience. But yeah, nobody knew what they were fucking doing. It's kind of like one of those things. I thought about making a video covering the, and by the way, by the time this video comes out, maybe I'll change my mind and make it in, like, 2 afternoons? I don't know. Because on one side of the story, right, I could have made a video going over, like, the, and I wanted to do that, just the overall biggest limitation that, the systems had. Not, like, in the sense of what was the, you know, just how were this, because every system's limited in some way, right? Like, if you take something like the N64 and magically give it, you know, because the N64 is a really simple case, like, wait, no, that's not the argument I was trying to even make, because, like, because, yeah, there's no actually simple case, that's what I'm getting to, but, like, if you look at the actual thing which slowed down N64 development the most, it was keeping the VRAM, sorry, not the VRAM, it was keeping the RDRAM from clogging up because it had unified memory. But if you zap away that issue, other issues just spawn that didn't exist before, because, believe it or not, sometimes people just don't know when they're making this. So you hit the other problem. Like, on the PlayStation overall, I think the biggest bottleneck in everything was the lack of perspective-correct textures. This is because, well, you had to use a lot more polygons to minimize distortion, which in a lot of cases made games more detailed. Like, if you would imagine, you know, Minecraft, right? If the blocks, like, let's say, let me just lower render distance to, like, 2, right? Like, if you could imagine that this is all the game can render, well, if we make the blocks larger, we can render further, but we can also render less detail, you know, if we render further. But the thing is, if we just did variable sizes, which is what games do with polygons, like you could imagine in... Oh, that thing is what's killing the frame rate. Hold on. There we go. No, one more. Server frame rate's like... Sorry, server view distance is either 12 or 16, so there's no reason to go above that. But yeah, like... If it had perspective correct, like, textures, there are a lot of things that could look a little bit better. So, like, you could save polygons on that stuff, so you would have more polygons for other stuff, and by doing that, you could essentially, have better-looking games, yada yada yada, you know the drill. The issue, of course, then is, like, if you do that, then the next issue may be fill rate. You'll run into issues. Another interesting thing is, reading into, like... So there's this guy who made Tomb Raider run on the GBA, and who made... he was, like, the lead designer or lead developer of Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6, the remasters. So he talked about how and this is something which I personally believed for a bit, Quake 2's levels were kind of short between loading zones, and I was like, in my head, you know, I was thinking there's no way that these levels are so small and yet take up so much space. And I was correct, because it turns out they were trying to implement a seamless loading system, but ran out of time. Which just makes me think about, oh my god, somebody needs to do that. Also, small problem, after updating the game, all the recipes are, yeah, just fucking gone. Hopefully I can grab some of these blocks again. So the idea will be, we'll also need some glass, which... don't know if I have anyway. I have a bit of it. The idea is, if I go into that fancy view, that is so fancy, P, right? Yeah. So, a lot of rooms up here, if you may know, have no windows. They run Linux. So, what I'll do is I'll get some more glass, and then I'll put those little windows in a semi-regular pattern. Because... I just kind of want the things to look nice. Hey, more trommels. Yeah, so we also need some sand. Oh. Oh, wait. It's tab. Yeah. Oh boy, I haven't been here in a bit. Should I use nether coal instead of normal coal? I think so. It doesn't matter. But yeah, as it turns out, Better Than Adventure, in my opinion, is not the way Minecraft should have been. For the simple reason that it is what I wanted Minecraft to be, if I were to be completely honest. But that doesn't mean anything. I'm just one of, like, so many players, right? Also, we can lower the gamma now, right? And even though so many players have, you know, what they want the game to be, and what I want the game to be, that doesn't mean that they're right or that I'm right. It actually means that all of us are wrong. And Minecraft should appeal to... And this is why, you know, Mojang has actually kind of a difficult job. Mojang needs to appeal to everyone. Now, if I was making the game, I would appeal to myself. But the issue is then, you know, even on a team, you kind of have to make sure that Minecraft isn't ruined for anyone. Because what I would do, if I took control of Minecraft and I only had my interests in mind, I would straight up delete the dragon in the way it exists right now. I would make bosses a completely optional thing the player could ignore completely and still access everything in the game except their specific boss drops. You don't need beacons, you know? You don't need, the fucking elytra, right? And you don't need... I don't actually know what the warden could even drop. I had some ideas, like a head, which turns things... well, like, attacks things, which turn... I don't know. You could think of some stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, like... even though I have my own ideas on what I would do and change... and yeah, I would make the Ender Dragon drop the elytra, because it's the only other fucking thing with wings. Phantoms don't count, I would delete them. But, realistically, to some people, the entire point of the game is to just play it till you beat the boss, and by removing that, I would be killing their enjoyment of the game. Obviously, this doesn't matter to me, because I don't play Minecraft for the fucking combat. Combat is literally just a part of the game. It's not what I play it for. Kind of like somebody asked me, do you play GTA San Andreas because you like to go to Cluckenbell? No. But it's a part of the game, and I wouldn't want to have a... like, you know, I don't want to have a health meter which requires me to have a balanced diet in San Andreas, nor would I want the mechanic to be completely removed because it's fun. Similarly to Minecraft, any proposition that tells us, oh, we should make the game... is that the correct way to use it? Well, it doesn't matter. Any idea that is like, oh, we need to make the game harder, you know, misses the point of the game. It's kind of like a Factorio, right? Like, I am not a Factorio veteran, but I completed my first run of Space Age in, like, 62.5 hours. Like, I am really good at the specific type of problem solving that, you know, Factorio resource mods specifically require. Stuff like Pyanodon. Just being able to work backwards from a problem and then figure out how to implement it. I'm pretty good at that, because I played Bob Angels until I got good at it. But, you could imagine that for a lot of people in Factorio, having such complex systems is just kind of hard, which is why Factorio Space Age gives you so many options. Honestly, my biggest general gripe with Space Age is that I feel like in some places you are kind of limited, when in other places you're not. Because, like, sometimes you can... for instance, one of the things I really like about Space Age is that, in most cases, if you have a strong base on another planet, like, for instance, on Vulcanus, you don't have to ship stuff in if you don't want to, but if you don't like a particular planet, you can only focus on the specific things you need and ship in everything else. That is what I've done with Gleba. I have never figured out how to get iron or copper at Gleba. I mean, I technically have, but I've never bothered, because I focused way too hard on just beelining for the objective, which is science. Because I can just ship in the parts from Vulcanus, because it's, like, next door to it. And giving the player such a variety of challenges they can complete, with a variety of methods of achieving them, is what I think is the strength of Space Age, and also of Minecraft. By making the game unnecessarily difficult, you're basically just alienating players like me who, well, as you can clearly see, really don't play Minecraft for the combat. Like, are you serious? Minecraft? Like, I understand adding Dark Souls combat would make it more engaging, but would it really make it more fun if every single time you have to fight an enemy, it's just like this one huge challenge? Because I'm really not convinced it would be good for the health of the game. Like, first of all, not only would you just push a lot of players into playing on peaceful mode, but, like, It's not the main challenge, is it? It's kind of like in Kerbal Space Program where, if you're not aware, swear to God, there's gonna be 50 different interruptions in this video. But yeah, so if you're not aware, KSP has career mode and science mode, but if you've watched most KSP YouTubers, they don't really focus on that. The true challenge of KSP isn't beating, quote-unquote, you know, career mode or science mode. The true challenge is making a giant shitfuck 7, flying it into Duna, crashing and exploding it, and then rescuing the Kerbal that somehow survived. That is the main challenge of the game. And that is where the fun of KSP comes from. If KSP just, you know, it became career mode only, it would remove so much fun from the game. Or like if you couldn't use quick saves and quick loads and such. Because realistically, I have a lot of challenges that I tried that never materialized into videos because they were just kind of buggy and broke. I could report that. But yeah, like, there are just a lot of broken mechanics. Like, for instance, I don't know if you've seen this, right? But there's, so I was trying to make a unfolding vehicle, and the issue is that it was a little bit too big to fit in a fairing, and then it handled like a cow, so I could never, like, properly launch it. So I gave up on the mission. And I thought about doing it again, but, like, it was moving so slowly, and I couldn't be bothered, and I felt lazy, and excuses, so no mission. Yeah, but you could imagine I couldn't even get to that point. I had another mission idea, because I finally thought of, one of the issues that I have is tumbling re-entry with big things that aren't in heat shields. I had some ideas, like having heat shields on heat-resistant struts in the back that would stabilize the vehicle, but then that gives its own set of issues, and I may try something like that eventually, though I genuinely don't know how it would work even, so we'll see. So yeah, over here, let's make a window. We'll just do it like this, I guess. Okay, so if I put... Let's over here. And this like that. And I hit P. How do you look? Looks pretty plain. What if... Are they curved stairs? Hold on. Nope. So, yeah, okay. We'll just use this block, because we don't need it. I don't know why I took it with me, but it turns out it's good for construction. Okay. What if I did something like this? How does this look? Oh, that looks even worse. Okay, what if I remove this? Fuck. Fuck. Okay. It's just one of those things. I don't know how to do this. What about now? How do they look? Actually, let me Google how do they look in real life. So, if I'm looking at how they look in real life correctly. And this is a thing which I should mention. If you're trying to learn how to build in Minecraft, Google the thing you're trying to build in real life, and then have it open, have like a page open while you're building it in Minecraft. It'll help a lot, because you'll have an easy reference. And not a null reference that crashes the computer. Ain't that right, C++? If you don't know, if you don't get the joke, Java supremacy, C++, more like L minus. I don't hate C++ because it's hard, and because when I did it in university, I barely passed the course, and I only like Java because it's easier. No, I also like Java because, I think the JIT compiler is really cool. And I like this a lot. Okay. But, okay, now I'm gonna have to talk about JIT in a fucking Minecraft video. Okay. So, if you're not aware, there's a thing called Java. Now, most people only know Java from Java Minecraft, and basically that has kind of ruined what people think Java is. People think Java is slow because the people who made this game can't program. No. Java, when done well, is about as fast as C++, minus some slight compile issues. Well, I guess some first run issues. Okay, so back in the day, Java ran with a compiler that, okay, no, it still runs with a compiler. So Java, when you compile Java, it doesn't compile it to machine code, which is, you know, the ones and zeros for your computer. It compiles it into Java bytecode, which is basically a hyper-optimized intermediary, which is then which is then compiled at runtime. So, like, when you run a jar, you're running a bunch of, you're running a virtual machine, which will interpret the bytecode into the machine code that you would normally find, you know, in actual binaries, right? So originally the way this was done was with an interpreter, right? Like, it would read an instruction and it would translate it, and read the next instruction and translate it. Now, then that kind of turned into, like, you know, then the idea behind interpreters was what basically all emulation is built off of. And then it just kind of developed. First you had, like, cached interpreters, which would, you know, cache things that are being done multiple times. And then that morphed into something called JIT. And what JIT does is it basically, so when you run it once, it will run the interpreter for the first time, but then it will store that as, you know, basic byte, you know, it'll store the machine code for later use, and so whenever that function is called, it'll first check, hey, is this in the JIT box where it's already compiled, and then if it's not, then it will interpret it. This is why, you can have, like, emulators, you know, like a PS3 emulator that runs games at 60 FPS. That's why, you know, so many modern Java apps run so fast. It's because they have a rock-solid interpreter that it then moves stuff to a, you know, JIT system, and it overall just works really well. The problem with Java is that a lot of the time, a lot of the complaints people read about it have been made 20 years ago. And Minecraft is realistically the only big thing that's been done in Java. Like, I guess you have StarMade. But who the fuck likes StarMade except me? I'm the StarMade fan. Everybody else likes Minecraft. I guess also me. But still, you know. And the issue that you kind of run into then is people's only reference to what a Java is Minecraft, and Minecraft runs slow. So what do? You blame Java. Even when it's not its fault. And it's been framed by Moj... No, it's actually technical debt. It's not actually Please stop saying okay, I know I should probably, like, PSA, please don't blame Mojang for Minecraft's code. It's because the game's fucking old. Google technical debt, and once you've read the page 15 times, come back, and then you'll understand. For those who don't understand, so it's just when a game is continuously developed, right, for a long time, sometimes you just have to stop and refactor everything, because some of the code is old, some of the changes don't really mesh well with new ones, and sometimes, you know, you just kind of have to, you know, take a step back, basically break everything with a sledgehammer, and start off new, only including the things that are necessary. If you don't do that, well, you'll have games like Kerbal Space Program 2, Barotrauma, and, you know, other sorts of games. And I only know of Barotrauma because I heard, Dashi Dashington mention that when he was playing it. Like, it is just kind of one of those things where also, like, there's just a lot of... software development is just about, like, the second hardest thing you could do next to hardware development. That's why there are so much web developers. That's why there's so much bad JavaScript code. But realistically, you know, the only thing harder than software development is hardware development, because, holy shit, you have to be a wizard to understand that. Oh yeah, also, I forgot these ones are 4 times as effective, not 2 times, whatever. And honestly, hardware developers scare me, and I wish them no harm, because they're wizards, and they could probably zap me from across the continent. But yeah, like, generally speaking, the big issue is just that, a lot of the times, the people complaining are not the people who know what's happening. That is a part of the reason why, even if I may disagree with him in some things, I still respect people like Scott, the Woz, because he doesn't just open his mouth and blabber on about things he doesn't understand most of the time. Except, you know, saying some dumb things sometimes, but overall, I'd say he's really good at what he does. I know that some of you who may know me personally may be sitting here and thinking like, oh, he's just... No, I genuinely don't hold any ill will towards 99.9% of the things the man said. I just think some of his statements about specifically, like, some of his hyperbole is just kind of an issue, because it's the internet. I'm sorry, buddy, but hyperbole doesn't fly here. There are people who think the Earth is flat. I was gonna say the Earth is round, but then I'd probably get one of those fucking... alerts under the video, where, you know, like, whenever somebody mentions global warming, there's a little alert saying, hey, this thing that is currently, like, causing... Oh, fuck. That is currently, okay, well, this is appropriate. That is currently flooding places all around the world is real, because there's just so much propaganda by, like, oil companies to make people believe it's not happening, that it's just one of those things where, Google has the alert to inform people, hey, this is real and it's happening. Though we're reaching a point as a society, which doesn't come from the Joker, it comes from Seinfeld, by the way, I'm pretty sure. We're reaching a point where the people who are most vulnerable to misinformation are being taught by the people spreading the misinformation that they should actively avoid any source that could help them, you know, that could help clear things up and explain to them that it's misinformation. It's just... Well, I don't want to say the term grooming, because that's often used in the other arguably more fucked up context, but it's basically what it is. I understand for some people it's like, oh, why would you bring that up here? Because it's important. I know it's kind of like one of those things where a lot of people will just think, oh, it's not important, and ignore something until it's too big to ignore. Now you could probably think of like 50 different things that fall under this qualification, but that's because people have done it a lot. And if you're wondering who's to blame, Francis Fukuyama is probably the closest you get to the answer. He has this one book, which is often memed upon, saying that we're at the end of history. And we're clearly not. We're clearly not. But the book is correct in what it sets out to say, because if you believe we're at the end of history, you know, you'll probably end up doing the things he said will happen. Mainly because it's kind of like one of those things where all people really need is to believe. Oh my god, dirt. What is this, the Grenfell Tower? Thankfully there's no gravity. But yeah, like, basically there was this one point in one of his pages in the book where he mentions that because there is less and less, basically because people think that society can't get better, and trust me, it can, because people think that, they will stop fighting for things that are actually, like, real, quote-unquote, and more of them will start fighting for their own little micro-causes that are, well, stupid, and, like, generally just harmful. Like, have you not seen how many people get angry whenever, like, there's a woman in a video game? Like, oh my god, they added, you can play as a woman in GTA 6. Well, you could play as a woman in GTA 5 online, and in GTA 1, only real fans know, but back then, you know, it wasn't that profitable to, well, actually, no, it was profitable to bitch about video games back then. It's just that back then, it was profitable for people like, did I do this wrong? I think I did. It was profitable for people like Jack Thompson, not for, you know, us. Well, not us. I don't do that. I'm not a loser. I pinky promise. Yeah, I made this one wrong. But yeah, like, realistically speaking, there's not that much we can do, except to laugh at those people. Especially when the fucking video comes out on, like, one of those people, and it alleged everything from the guy running a, well, everything from, like, I think it was tax evasion, to alleging that he was an owner of a type of site that I don't want to mention here, because even if I do swear and say fuck a lot, I don't know, I don't know if I should bring that up. It's just it's not even for like oh, I want to keep it PG. It's just I don't want to make it gross, right? I don't think you're here to hear me laugh about that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's funny, you know? If nothing else, it's funny. But yeah. now that it's profitable to, like, grift, it's kind of getting sad, because it's kind of obvious, at least to me. Maybe it's because I have more experience watching this sort of stuff unfold, because it's been happening for, like, a full 10 years now, where, like, you see people who are enjoying a game, then they're, like, live stream it, right? Then the chat tells them that it's a bad game, and then they immediately start hating on the game they were previously enjoying because the chat told them it's bad. It's just one of those things where, it's also, like, this could be, like, an entire video on itself, just about how the, like, internet and the idea that there's one opinion that you should all have just kind of ruined media discussion in general. Like, because people will just adopt whatever opinion somebody else has, which, you know, even if they've never seen this, it's kind of like way that one dog shit awful horrible Steven Universe video still affects discourse today. Now, I don't like Steven Universe because I kind of found it a little bit cringe and a little bit boring when I watched it as a kid. I preferred stuff like Adventure Time, because I just kind of did. I don't have any deep reasons, or motivations, or arguments. But yeah, realistically, that's all there is to it. But, very often people will just, like, try to claim their opinion is correct, when it's obviously my opinion that's correct. Anyways, yeah, I'll see you next time, when we continue working on this. Bye-bye.